This is Shaney Entertainy doing his weekly broadcast on YouTube. And let me, as usual, check to see the old sound Rooney. Sounds fine. Check my yep. Now let us begin. Let's see who we have on the chat. Who do we have here on the chat? I do not know yet. If there is anybody on the chat, please do speak up, yeah? Okay, guys. I'll wait a bit before I get into the meat and potatoes. So, yeah, we've got some a lot of things going on in this world, in this Star Wars creative world of ours. Terry LG, how you doing, friend? Wookiee Lives Matter. How are you? Glad you guys are on board for this wild ride. Death by Saber. Hey there. So guys, yeah, so today, guys, I wanted to talk. I'm glad there's a bunch of people to start off with, because now I could actually start, not waste time. So here's the thing. Now I've been doing a whole thing lately on Star Wars, and I watched a video about a documentary where I didn't know something, and I found this out, and I found this kind of interesting. That George Lucas, before he made Star Wars, was a big fan of Flash Gordon films, the old serials and stuff like that. And his whole intention was to make a reboot of Flash Gordon. And he asked the studio if he could do that. Like, he tried to get the rights to do a Flash Gordon movie. Well, the studio didn't want to do it and didn't give him the rights, and he couldn't. So he was kind of let down and didn't get his dream of rebooting and remaking and rehashing an old property, right? And so what did he do instead? What did George Lucas do instead? Well, George Lucas, now knowing that he couldn't do his dream of making a new Flash Gordon, he decided to write his own serial Space Odyssey, and that's where the idea and the birth of Star Wars was because he wasn't allowed, or didn't get the rights to do the thing he wanted to do, which was Flash Gordon. And here's another one. That's just one example of this, because we talk about where we are as a culture, where we are as, in movies, and all the rehashes and remakes, and just think about how what we're losing out, right? And here's another one. People may not know this, but Steven Spielberg's dream, not dream, but his passion, he loved 007. He loved James Bond, and he wanted to make a James Bond film. But unfortunately, I forgot who makes James Bond, but the production company who makes James Bond in the UK don't allow anybody but British people to make, or British directors to direct a James Bond movie. So, being thwarted of his passion to make a James Bond movie, Steven Spielberg thought about making a serial movie that was similar to James Bond, but in an American way. And that's began the idea of Indiana Jones. And so, just think about how different our world would have been had those two amazing directors, amazing creators, weren't challenged and weren't forced and pushed to do and create their own thing. And instead they, Steven Spielberg made another James Bond, and just James Bond would have just been blended into all the other James Bonds. George Lucas would have made Flash Gordon, and Flash Gordon would have just blended in probably would have never done that well. As Flash Gordon's very campy in himself. He probably would have done okay, probably done a little, been done well, but not to the point of Star Wars. It was no Star Wars. Let's put it that way. Frontman, what is good, my friend? What is good? Everything's good. So just think about how Wookiee Lives Matter, a George Lucas Flash Gordon would have been amazing. Probably would have been amazing, but it wouldn't have been Star Wars. It wouldn't have been something new. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been good. I mean, I don't know, but it definitely wouldn't have been Star Wars. And I'm not saying it wouldn't have created a different cultural icon, but but see, Flash Gordon already existed, and so it might have been liked, it might have been hated. For all we know, he would have changed it, and the real lovers and hardcore fans of the old original black and white Flash Gordon would have been like, "That's not my Flash Gordon," and and it would have created a cultural clash. Who knows? The point is that they were forced to create something new. He was forced to create Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. He was forced to do something innovative and challenge himself. And that's what we're lacking today. And that's what I'm saying by this, because we're entering a dead zone in culture. And it's kind of sad because, and I'm only talking about North America because it's hard to speak outside of North America, because I do think there's some good stuff being done in Japan and other countries. But I mean, obviously, because Hollywood has always been sort of the apex of movie making and stuff like that, cartoons and whatnot. That of course, we're going to look to Hollywood, who's always been the guiding light of innovation when it comes to, at least in the modern era, right? When it comes to culture, where it created culture, and now it doesn't create culture anymore. Hollywood mimics culture. Hollywood is now following the trends, whereas Hollywood used to create the trend. And and it wasn't easy. Like it's not like George Lucas said, "Well, then I'm going to go make Star Wars," and that was it. And he made Star Wars, and everything was just hunky dory. He had to fight for that. He had to fight for Star Wars. He had to go through to multiple different studios, which turned him down and thought it was a ludicrous idea. And he got one guy that he knew at Fox who was a buddy of his to go along with him. And even then, they didn't give him a lot of money to start off with. So like I'm saying, right now, it's like where we are. Here's where we are. We're right now at a time when studios aren't challenging anybody. They're just extremely just happy to give everybody, "Oh, you want to do your own She-Ra? Go ahead. Let's do this. Let's rehash this. Let's do a Toy Story 4. Let's make this. Let's remake all of our Disney movies into live action, because let's not create anything new. Let's not do that. And let's do everything that we've already been done, and nothing new is being made." And here's the problem. Even if they did something new, even if they tried something new, do we feel like they have the capability of doing that? Is there creativity left in these people? Do we have a George Lucas out there? Is there even a George Lucas out there that could about the culture that we live in? And the culture we live in is everyone wants to be safe. We have our safe spaces, and we don't want to take risks because of their anxieties and high pressure levels, and we can't. And if we do something, we have to make sure we have the check boxes, right? No one has imagination, I'm guessing, anymore. And it's not. I'm pretty sure there are people with imagination, Toriel. It's not the people. I don't think that we have no imagination. I just think that the people with imagination don't have drive. You have to have both. See, it's not that George had imagination and then Star Wars was made. Star Wars was made because George had imagination, plus he had the drive. He had the push. He didn't sit in a safe space saying, "Well, they hurt my feelings, so now I'm just going to cry." No, that's not what George did. George didn't just say, "I'm going to make Star Wars, write a treatment for Star Wars," and then all the studios were just magically going, "Yay, let's do this thing. This is wonderful." No, that's not what happened. He had to push from studio to studio to studio, taking rejection after rejection. And even the studio that he got to do it didn't have that much faith in it. They just gave him a couple of million to work with, and then kept shortening his time because he kept going over budget. And they said, "Okay, and then at the end, he had like 3 months to finish a movie that was going to take a year or so to film. So he had to rush the ending. He didn't, and he had a lot of overseers. There was a lot of people there to make sure that George didn't go crazy. So it wasn't an easy road for George. So it's not just that it takes innovation. Just like again, what Ryan Reynolds had to go through to get Deadpool done. He had to push for it. He had to push hard for it. And he had to wait and keep pushing until he got it. Steven Spielberg didn't get Stormtrooper Babe. How's it going? How are you? Glad to see you. I rhymed you with you. Hey, boo-boo. So he had to, Steven Spielberg, even to get his vision of Indiana Jones done. They didn't give him any. There was nobody who was like, what, the cereal with the guy with the whip, and they didn't believe in that either. They didn't give him a lot of money, and he had a hard time pitching that movie. But these guys, they pushed forward, they took rejection, and they kept going. Now, I'm not saying that these guys aren't doing that. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It seems like the culture we live in right now, the safe spaces, the don't hurt my feelings, that stuff. Unless you're going to attach something to it that is like Sith troopers are red, sounds like red commies. Yeah, see, that's an example of what I'm talking about. See, it's like there's no innovation. These guys are just like rehashing old ideas. It's like I feel with that exact thing, right? Frontman 242 with that Sith trooper. It's like Disney had a bunch of toys that they didn't sell, and they're like, well, we want to make this creative thing called the Sith Trooper, I think there was Sith Troopers before, but I think they looked completely different. And they were like, well, and then Mickey was just like, well, I don't want to do that. I've got a whole warehouse full of unsold toys. What I'm going to do is we'll make the Sith Trooper thing, make him look like a Stormtrooper painted red. That's the way we could save on money. We'll just paint all the Stormtroopers red, and that's it. We already have the mold. I'm not making a whole new mold. That would cost too much money. I don't have faith in anything anymore. There's nobody has faith to create innovative things and be new. Everything is done now in the safest, most mundane, unimaginative, uncreative way. Just so you know, my name is Matt. Oh, hey, Matt. How's it going, Matt? Thank you for telling me your name instead of me calling you Frontman. Matt is Frontman, everybody. Let's all get to know each other. Can we all say each other's names? Stormtrooper, what's your name? Let's all get to know each other. My name is Shane. Just take away the E, and you get Shane. DM, your Grace. How's it going, DM foe? Yeah. So yeah, it's like and now my whole thing of this whole rant is like, if Star Wars wasn't made, right? If George Lucas got his wish and he did a Flash Gordon might have had some toys. It might have been okay. But just think of how the cultural impact that followed Star Wars. I mean, we wouldn't have had He-Man. He-Man was a direct response, was directly created because of the response that Star Wars had. Mattel wanted to make their version. They got so blown out of the water of what the Kenner toys did for Star Wars that they decided we're going to do our own thing too. And they created all the toy lines that we love as kids, whether it be G.I. Joe, whether it be Star Wars, all this stuff. That stuff was created because of Star Wars, the success of Star Wars. Nobody wanted to touch those toys. That's why George Lucas kept the rights, because he's like, nobody cared. They were like, it's not going to make any money. Nobody wants these toys. They want big, giant Jim figures and and Barbies. That's what they want. These giant figures. No one wants these small little figures. No, kids like the big things. They can take in the bathtub and just smash each other with. They didn't want these little figures. They were wrong. Boy, were they wrong. And everything has its cultural impact, right? Everything leads to something else. Disney took a chance. They made The Little Mermaid once back then, and Disney was not doing that well. Their cartoon industry was going down. They made The Little Mermaid, a new idea. I think they even used new technology and when it came to the way they made their animation, and it was a success. And that movie, and I know it's not a new idea, but I'm just saying that they took a chance on a new creative adventure instead of let's go back and remake I don't know, like an old, like Snow White. Let's redo Snow White. They didn't do that. They created a new story with Ariel and actually spent the money and pushed it. And they had a lot of failures, but they did something. And that led to what? That led to Aladdin. That led to Lion King. That led to all the new generation of Disney that everybody loves and everybody thinks fondly of. Now today, what are they doing? What are they doing? Disney is not doing that. Disney's not saying, well, let's make something innovative. Toy Story. Let's make a fully CGI movie. That was, I think it was the idea. Remember that the lamp that they used to play? I forgot what it was called. There was that lamp and the ball. before I forgot that whole thing. There was that animation, that CGI animation that they came up with before a movie. It was like, bing, 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 and you'd be like rocking on the ball and then you fall. It was that. It's like that led to Toy Story. Toy Story then became, hey, Ian. Oh, Fanatics of Film is here, guys. Thanks for joining me. Fanatics says, so true. They don't innovate. Ian Opinion says, they don't innovate anymore. They regurgitate. Yep, and then the audience regurgitates. Blah, blah. That's what we do after we see their regurgitation. Yeah, and so here we are now. We have this dark age, this dark age of film and this dark age of art, and it's not getting any better. And that's sort of kind of makes me sad, because it's just leading to the people who right now who are trying to who are leading the way with this stuff, right? Who are doing the reboots, who are creating, they don't understand what happened in the past, right? They don't understand the importance of Star Wars. They don't understand the importance of Star Trek. They don't understand the importance of these things, of how they changed the culture, how Jurassic Park changed the culture, how Terminator changed the culture, how these movies, these movies that were bold moves by the directors, by the producers, that changed and innovated things. The Abyss, these movies that culturally affected the industry because they took a chance on something, on a new technology, or on a new or took chances on a new idea and pushed it forward, despite the fact that there was a risk involved, because risks are with anything. The risk that they don't wish to take today, they're not going to take it. Stormtrooper Babe says, I think the red stormtroopers are pretty. White trooper myself, if I mate with a red one, our baby stormtroopers will be pink. The pink stormtroopers. Yep. That'll be the next one. Pink stormtroopers. I was actually joking around with Pinion talking about the red stormtroopers, and I was like, well, maybe they're the love troopers. they're called Sith troopers, but really they're love troopers, and they spread the love of Kylo Ren across the galaxy. DMFO says, maybe it's not going to be easy, but I want to stop watching any more remakes, reboots, endless franchises. Yes, that's a great idea. That's not just that. We got to stop getting mad every time they do something. Like the outrage also fuels it, because the outrage creates publicity for them. So like every time there is like hashtag not my Ariel, and everyone goes out, and that's like Disney's like, ha, suckers, they just fed for what I decided to create here. I wanted animosity, and I got it. That's what they got, and everybody gave it to them. Gillette comes out with a commercial, everyone gets upset, and then there's free advertisement for them. Yay, Gillette wins, and everyone else is angry and poo-faced. But Gillette's raking in their money. They're shaving their face with all the dollar bills. They painted communist red. Fanatics of Film says they love the love of Raylo. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a love letter to Ray. That's what those stormtroopers are. Anyway, what the stormtroopers are lazy. Let's be honest. It's just laziness. It's just they don't want to create something new, and they don't know how. They create something recognizable. It's all about recognizing and brand recognition, and that's the thing about right now. The reason why they rehash, retool, reshape is because the lost art, which I've said, the Raiders of the Lost Art. The lost art is not just making innovative, creative things. The lost art is brand recognition, is creating brands that work. Marvel is kind of at fault for all of this, because as much as I love, Marvel, and I love my superheroes, I love me some superheroes. I have to say, Marvel screwed up movies. They screwed up the film industry. Not them alone. I mean, you can't just blame one entity but the whole thing is the success that the Marvel enterprise has had is what led to every studio trying to mimic them. And that's what they've always done in Hollywood. What a success! Not just Hollywood, they do in sports and everything. They see what works, And then all the other companies try and copy that. They try to copy the formula, and it was this whole thing of trying to copy Marvel's formula. Opinion says, yeah, it's about brand recognition. I mean, look how people are freaking out about Galaxy's Edge not being familiar enough to them. Opinion also says, but they will complain that the movies are too repetitive and recycled. Yeah, I mean, I agree that some innovation needs to be done there. And it's funny because they're putting in it's kind of weird. I get what you're saying, but it's funny how they put their innovation in the wrong place. They're putting their innovation in something that we kind of expect to get nostalgic about. And then they're putting their nostalgic in a place where we want them to be innovative. I would rather they be innovative in their actual movies and not unless in their theme park. Because in the theme park, you kind of want to walk in and go, oh my God, I feel like I'm in Star Wars. But, that's not how you feel when you walk in, when you feel it. But yeah, the outrage outweighs the outrage. And that's another thing, outrage culture. Outrage culture is also killing everything because now we don't even know what to like anymore and what to hate. We're just throwing hate all over the place. We're just throwing fists wildly all over the damn place. Just like, I don't like that. Oh, what? There's a fight in Disney World. Disney World's to blame. Mickey Mouse should have cut in there. All right. What did you want? What did you want Disney to do? Listen, you guys, stop fighting in my goddamn park here. And just walk in and just start hog tying them all. It's not Disney's fault. But everybody is just finding everything because we're just angry. We don't know what to start, where to put our frustration into. And that's part of the culture of this dysfunction that we have right now. It's the rage culture that's sort of all over the place. And it's on every side. It's not just our side. It's on the SJWs. It's on the counterculture. It's in everything. It's all misplaced rage. And we don't know where to put it. We're just frustrated, and everyone's frustrated. We don't know where to put our rage and our anger and our frustration, and we're just throwing it all over the damn place. And yeah, and then we get caught up in small things like Galaxy's Edge, and now we want also to confirm bias. We want Galaxy's Edge to fail because we want Disney to fail. And why do we want Disney to fail? We want Disney to fail because they hurt me. They hurt me deep. And so we can't, and now we don't even, half the people don't even know whether they want Star Wars to succeed anymore. Because I still think that a lot of people want it to fail. I don't think they want it to succeed because why have it succeed? First of all, a lot of channels would, if Star Wars started to do well and became creative and innovative, well, there would be less outrage out there or less reason to be outraged, and a lot of outrage channels would fail. So that would screw up a lot of people and their channels, and God forbid we don't have any more people out there ranting and raving about things. But also we kind of aren't sure if we want them to fail because we just don't want to see Disney succeed or the people behind Lucasfilm succeed. Maybe we just want to be right. We just want them to be, they ruined our Star Wars, so screw them. We don't even think we know what the hell we want anymore. I think a lot of us are kind of confused. Do we want Star Wars to do well? I'm asking that question. If you had your choice, would you all want Star Wars to do well? Answer the question. Answer me, goddamn you. If so, fanatics of film laughed. Ha 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 ha. Imagine Star Wars in an underworld vibe. Yeah, the underworld with the black cloaks and everything. Some people aren't happy unless they're complaining about everything. Sad but true. Stormtrooper Babe says that Star Wars Backlash is more entertaining by far. Well, I mean, you know what? I will say something about Star Wars Backlash. I was one of those that when The Force Awakens came out, I liked it when it first came out. And I wasn't I was upset because of what happened to Han Solo, but I just generally speaking liked the film a little bit. Like I think I wanted to like the film, and then as time went on, I started to poke holes more and more on it. But I wanted to really like that film, and it did give me that sort of nostalgic vibe that I was kind of hoping it would. But the thing is that I think that a lot of the things that we had were positive. See, and we still had Star Wars channels do really well. I mean, Star Wars channels were being, because everyone was like, oh my God, what's going to be in the next one? And Star Wars channels were doing extremely well talking about talking about theories and fan theories, and I was one of those that was really entertained by fan theories. I wasn't attached to any theory, but I was extremely excited to listen to people's theories and see what would happen. It was an excitement to see what could be. Oh my, the imagination, you know what I mean? It flowed in our brains. We were like salivating at the possibility of what did this lightsaber mean? What is Rey? Who's Rey's background? What is, we were really salivating at the notion of what the heck, the next possibility for these characters were. What's going to happen with Finn? What's going to happen with their relationship? And then that's kind of where the whole thing fell to shit, because The Last Jedi comes out and all those theories were, squashed and squandered. And then they had, it's like the agenda took over and killed it all and destroyed it. And then the outrage took over. And we were justifiably angry. Everybody's justifiably angry, has a justified reason for being angry at what they did and what Rian Johnson did. But is it gone too far now, right? Are we now taking that anger and now we haven't, and just running with it, and we can't put the brakes on this? It's just like this out of control ball of fire that just rolling over everything because we just and I think we've never been satiated either. I think there's that thing that at least had Disney come out, maybe fired Rian Johnson, acknowledged the fans for our outrage and said, hey, you guys are right. You're the paying customer, and we kind of screwed the pooch. I think that might have helped put the outrage out a little bit, but now it's too late. We're gone. We're out there. We're gone. Everybody is now out for blood. We're just vampires going, what can we hate next? What is Disney doing? Somebody farted in the park. Let's get them. Disney's to blame for this too big of a stink with all the farts in the park. We're just looking for reasons to hate. And I think at some of that's unhealthy, and that's not a good direction. We should put the brakes on here and look around and say, guys, all right, what's the end game here? What's the end goal? Wookiee Lives Matter, fan theories was fun until your Snoke theory sucks. Exactly. Which is what I said. Instead of squashing the anger by maybe taking some of the blame, Disney didn't do that. Matt says, now Disney should release Star Wars babies. Star Wars babies, they make our dreams come true. Luke Skywalker. I don't know. But if this was the 80s, Star Wars babies would be a thing. Final nail in the coffin. I agree that people are justifiably mad. I totally get it. But everything has been said. There's no more things to pick apart, and it's time to move on. Yes, 100% agree. Opinion, Ian, you are 100% right. Everything has been said, and that's why we are now looking for things to get angry about, which is exactly what I'm talking about. The fact that because everything has been said, now we've got to look for new things, and that's why it's the consistent endeavored search to rip apart Mickey Mouse and Disney and Lucasfilm for anything and any infraction, even if it has nothing to do with them, like a fight on the premises, which could have been a fight anywhere, but it was on Disney, so it became Disney's fault. And that's sort of like, guys, pick your damn battles here. That makes us look bad. It makes us look bad when we just pick on everything. We already have a bad image, and now this is just helping create even a worse image of Star Wars fans that we're just out for blood and we'll never be satiated. It's not helping. Stormtroopers, Star Wars babies, Wookiee Lives Matter. Disney needs to cast Brie Larson as Yoda. Oh God. Why not? What's wrong with making Yoda a blonde white girl? What am I, racist? Does she have to do the voice? Could she do the voice at least? Could we have a blonde Yoda at least try to do the voice? I want to hear Brie Larson do the voice, the Yoda voice, at least in backwards speak. At least if she does that, I don't mind. 10 out of 4. Hearing negativity all the time, people gets really quick really old, really quick, and it's nice to hear positive things. Stormtrooper babe, I'm going to tell you a positive thing. Tomorrow, the sun's going to come out, and we're all going to be live and breathing and smelling the clouds in the air and the fresh air, and our lives are going to not be altered or changed by any of this. So there's some positivity there. DMFO, there's no hate in me. Obviously, they keep saying the movie is made for me, so I simply not going to watch it and spend any more money. 100% agree. This movie was not made for me. They've made this perfectly clear. This movie was made for no one. So let them realize that this movie was made for no one. And when they do realize this movie was made for no one, they will maybe say, well, maybe we should have made it for someone. But they decided to make it for no one. They thought they were making it for girls. Girls aren't really that interested in it. They thought they were making it for SJWs. SJWs aren't really into it. But they're into, and you could tell because they've done that with the comics. And I'm talking about comic books. And comic books are dying. They're a dying art now. Manga has almost replaced comic books, Japanese manga, for sales. So, so we know that if they continue down this trajectory of satiating people that aren't really fans of the product because they think it's trending, well, they're going to fail. And we have to let them fail so that they can maybe look and say, maybe it's a good idea we try to find a market. Like in the old days when we had to find a market and dedicate this to that market, make the toys that dedicate to that market. Brie Larson, Jedi moisture farmer. But I want to be a moisture farmer like my mother. Can't say like her father because the father was a deadbeat who died in the Clone Wars as a tyrant and abandoned his family because fathers are not relevant anymore. Yoda will be gay. Yoda could already be gay. We don't know. You don't know Yoda. You don't know his background. For all we know, Yoda is gay. We don't know. We don't know. And we like it that way. Just keep it that way that we don't know. Yay, Toriel. Yay, that is a positive thing. Thank you, Shani. 95% of girls don't give a funk about sci-fi. I think girls do like sci-fi, but I know there's a ton of female Star Trek fans. Female of the girl variety. There's Star Trek runs the gamut of a lot of sci-fi, and I do think that they do like sci-fi, but I will agree that the action sci-fi, which Star Wars didn't really appeal to a lot of girls, and I know this because my family I have a lot of girls in my family, and not one of them liked Star Wars. In fact, when I used to talk about Star Wars as a kid, they'd be like, "Oh my God, stop talking about that movie! It's just so silly. I don't understand Jedis." This is exactly what my cousins used to say. What is the deal with Jedis? What is Jedis running around? What is Jedi? Their necks did that whole wobble. What's a Jedi thing? And I was like, they're like monks with lightsaber powers. Like, I don't know, whatever. It's like kung fu movies. Girls don't like kung fu movies. At least most girls don't like kung fu movies. But they like their things. Now Disney, though, they love women. They love their women, and the girls spend the most money, and that's what they want. They want to somehow navigate the waters, and that's what I mean by Star Wars is for nobody anymore, because they want to navigate and that's why nothing is for anybody anymore. Not just Star Wars, but Star Trek is for nobody. Ghostbusters is for nobody. Everything is for nobody. And the reason is because they're trying to navigate too many things. They're trying to check too many boxes, and in the end, they're getting nothing. They're not checking anything. Disney wants to make movies that appeal to girls because girls spend more money. They want to appeal to kids because kids are the ones who play with the toys and they go to the theme parks and they play and then they do all that stuff. They wanted to appeal to the old, but not, to the old fans. So they throw out nostalgia points here and there. And they wanted to appeal to the SJW crowd and that. So they're trying to hit all these targets. It's impossible. You can't do it. Opinion. I'm gonna rant a bit. My new vid, and make fun of it. Go ahead, Opinion. Yeah. By the way, opinion. He's making a video about Disney and Galaxy's Edge and stuff, and we look forward to it, Ian. Opinion. We look forward to it, since we're all using each other's names. We're looking forward to it. Guys, go check out his channel. He's really fun. He's a fun guy. And he's been dormant for a while, but he's rising like the sun. He's going to come out like the phoenix, out from the ground. Matt says real Toriel's hot. Love kung fu sci-fi action. Toriel says Stormtrooper babe. I think they know what I meant. Opinion. Yeah. Yeah. It's the funny part too is like I've been noticing the difference in like the culture that I'm saying is dying, and the fact that even if they try to do something new, could they succeed in that? Like, would they be able to succeed if they tried something new? And that's another thing to think about because they've been running this charade of rehash, recreate, and they can't. And look what happened with Game of Thrones. Okay, this is a perfect example of something that was a new creation by a writer, George R.R. Martin, and it was taken by Hollywood. And as long as Hollywood had the books to draw from, it did well. The minute the books ran out and there was nothing for them to do but to come up with their own creativity, they didn't know what the hell to do. They were all lost. The whole thing made no sense. And toilet. The last season in the toilet. There was nothing there. And so it's like, even if they did do something new, is it a lost art? That's why I'm calling it a dark age, because the dark ages, if you all recall, was a time period where art was lost. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the hordes and the Europe became a feudal countries, just fighting with each other all the time, pilfering and pillaging everything, and all of the scientific innovations that the Romans and the Greeks and the Egyptians did got lost and got, and for years and years and years, art and culture just disappeared until the Renaissance. Nothing really was done, and architecture and aqueducts, all that stuff was just gone because of that. And I feel like everything's been pilfered. We've been pilfering for so long, picking like in the dark ages, picking at the culture, picking and destroying, and that now once the cloud settles and the dust is over, we're going to be left with nothing, because they don't know how to make these things anymore. They'll be like, how did we make Star Wars? How did they do this? How did there going to be scientific studies about what was the model for Back to the Future? How did that do so well? Why? And I'm going to pick apart that to figure out how that happened, because how did they brand back in the 80s? How did branding work? We don't know how to brand anymore. We're just so used to taking old things, rehashing them, slapping an old logo on it and saying, there it is, guys. Love it. You may dispense your pleasantry. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am. I love Sharut Imwi. What is that? I loved Sharut Imwi. I don't know what you're talking. I am. What is Sharut Imri? Fanatics Film just says pilf. But yeah, and so even if they did make something new, right? What would they? I don't think they'd be able to succeed in it, because I don't think that there's any innovation left. There's not just no creativity, but you could have creativity, but what do you do with it? How do you promote it? How do you get it out there? How do you create I was watching someone talk about everything that had to go right for Star Wars to succeed. The things that, nobody believed Star Wars was going to succeed. That's why millions of dollars went to George Lucas in toy sales and everything, because everyone, including Steven Spielberg, who once he saw they had some scenes that he was looking at, nobody believed in it. George Lucas was on his own cloud going, I'm telling you, this is going to work. And one guy at Fox believed in him, and it worked. And that's the thing. Like, there's too many people like that, but at least they let him do it. They're like, well, we'll see what he's got. Now they're not willing to let people go do it and do their thing. They're stopping people. And they're not. And like, I think Star Wars was really important culturally, as was Star Trek, because of a lot of factors. They hit a lot of buttons that people could mimic in a way. The Star Wars logo was iconic. The Star Wars, The characters that they created were simple. And if you watch the original treatment for Star Wars, it was a crazy, much crazier and storyline. And the people around George Lucas kept telling him to, thin it out, make it a solid story, and it became a smaller story of family. Continuum Trek says, someone says Star Trek. Yeah, I said Star Trek. We're all love Star Wars and Star Trek, two cinematic gems that changed the face of humanity. Yeah, Star Wars and Star Trek both. I mean, Star Trek before Star Wars did that, and continuously did it. Even in the 80s, Star Trek, at least the Next Generation, continuously changed and altered culture because that's what they do. They were innovative. They were creative. They didn't go back in time, which is another problem, that even when they do remake things, it's always, let's go back in time, like with the Discovery. Let's go back, because Star Wars is not to boldly go where no man, Star Trek is to boldly go where no man has gone before. And now we could even say SJWs, say Star Trek is to boldly go where no person of color and genetic difference gone before. It is to boldly go where we've rehashed before. It's to go back in time and retcon everything. Let's not be innovative, when I was a kid and was watching Star Trek, I used to think that the next generation was going to be the next generation, and the next generation, next generation. And they just kept going forward into the future, because that was what Star Trek and these movies are about, right? These movies are not like sci-fi generally appeals to us because it shows us a potential of humankind, what we could be, where we could take ourselves, right? When we saw a lightsaber for the first time, we were like, wow, a sword could be a burning thing of light. That's incredibly cool. What, a car could hover on the ground, and that's incredibly cool. These, even though it took place in a galaxy far, far away and a long time ago, it was still the future for some reason. And we looked at those things and we were like inspired by them, and we made things futuristic because it inspired us to create stuff that we hadn't known. Imagination went forward. And imagination is supposed to go forward. It's not supposed to go back. And that's why that's another problem we have, is that any time they do create this stuff, they also go backwards. It's like, why is Star Trek going backwards? Why do we care what happened between the time of Spock and between the time of Spock and Captain Kirk? And why do we care about that period of time? That period of time, there was nothing going on that we cared about. As if it was, what do you call it? Roddenberry would have made it at that time. But he created, this is the timeline. And then let's go future. Let's go to the future, because it's always about innovation, challenging the future, challenging the views of how we could see the potential of humankind going forward. Those are the things that inspire us, right? About that. Back to the Future. What I loved the most about Back to the Future. Yes, he went back in time, but the concept of a time machine that's a DeLorean, and the DeLorean was iconically cool because it looked like a future car, and it showed even how people from the past would view people from the present, at the time with the 80s, and say, wow, the future looks cool. And then the second one, Back to the Future, went to the future, and that became amazing because we saw flying cars, and we saw hoverboards, and we saw things that led to self-cleaning and drying clothes. Remember that? And his jacket dried up. Hats that changed colors. There was so many things that we looked at those movies, and they drew us in because there was something that they appealed to us as little kids. And even if we weren't kids, they appealed to the kid side of us, and the wonderment of what could be. And that's what these things don't do. A red stormtrooper doesn't do that for anybody. A red stormtrooper is just like, oh, so a stormtrooper's red now. Yay. Potential for humankind is just wonderful, that we can spray paint something a different color. Awesome. Where's the innovation in any of that? And that's where I feel it's where culture is. Culture is in that stormtrooper, because there is the wonderment that was Walt Disney, even Disney itself, which was it's such a shame because Disney was once upon a time a leader in culture. It was a leader in imagination, and Walt Disney himself created Disneyland and Disney World to 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 show awe and give kids an experience, the land of tomorrow, and all these things were designed to create, to give people, a sense of awe and wonderment when they went in there, and to challenge a view of the future and to see where we are. And right now, we're nowhere there. We're mired in this dark age of just rehash, reuse, recycle, ruin, and the multiple R's. Fantastic target, hard to miss. Yeah. Well, it's just like, it's just sad because I want to see somebody. I want to see a new George Lucas. I'm pulling for a new George Lucas, a new Steven Spielberg. I want someone to come out and challenge and create something and push hard, because that's the thing I was saying. Is it that we're in a culture that people are no longer have any backbone? Is that part of it? Is that we're living in, like, I know we talk about millennials, but we talk about millennials in this new generation of people and how they're just, they don't have the backbone, or everyone's just too down on themselves, or they have no confidence, and we walk around always feeling shitty. And so we look for validation on Twitter, and we look for validation of our existence, of what we think, of what we feel, of how we want, of our opinions. Did I like the movie? I don't know. Let me check to see what everyone else is saying. Yep, I didn't like that movie. We can't even come up with our own damn opinion on whether we like something or not. We need validation from a million people. Am I sad? Let me see. This is what I'm going through, guys. Am I sad? Yes, you have every right to be sad. Woohoo! I can be sad. We have to validate our own emotions, our own feelings. So of course we lived in a culture now where no one's going to push. No one, not many. It takes a special person to push past all this grime and to prove something to other people. Yes, sad but true. Matt, Lucas World, fantastic, going to kick Disney's butt. Lucas World looks fantastic, going to kick Disney's butt. I don't know what Lucas World is. Cultural degeneration. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. The cultural degeneration of who we are as people, and that definitely influences the culture that we have. Because, and I'm not saying this didn't exist in the 70s, because the 70s definitely had that. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of. I mean, in the 70s, it was a dark time. Same thing. It was like a mini little dark age too. You had, times were tough financially. People were losing jobs. Most of the movies that came out were like end of the world type of stuff. Very dark, gritty movies. And I think that's why when George Lucas said, "Let's change it. Let's create a new hope." A new hope was really what the 70s needed. And that's why everyone didn't understand. It's like, how could something so silly at the time be so successful? And that was because it legitimately was a new hope. It was a new hope for a gritty time, for a nihilistic world. And not unlike where we are. Although I do believe the 70s had way more, I think the 70s had a lot more creativity, maybe because everyone was high. Everybody was whoa, let's jam. It's great, this world where there's like stormtroopers and this Jedi, this master of Jedis, like these Kree guys. And wouldn't it be awesome if they could like move things with their minds and stuff? And they had like swords made of light. And oh yeah, this little green guy. He's like Yoda. His name is Yoda, and he got the name Yoda because he was drinking sodas. Oh man, this soda is great. What? Oh, maybe call it Yoda, like soda but with a Y. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, and he's like the master of all the Jedi. This really weird green dude, right? That's how they created Star Wars in the 70s, maybe, because that was all. Everybody was on medication at the time. And now everybody's on different type of medication. Everyone's on Ambien and lorazepam. Everybody's on some form of anxiety medication, so they just like this. Let's create something. You want to create something? Yeah. Okay. What do you want to create? I don't know. I'm tired. Let's just do something else and make it. Okay. Because if I actually create something, I'll get like super excited, and then I'll get anxiety, and I might get a panic attack. So let's just make something else that's already been done. Yeah, and so no one ever credits Marissa Lucas for putting Star Wars together. Yes, she was the editor, was she not? She re-edited, actually. It was a re-edit because they had edited Star Wars, and she re-edited it in between other movies she was doing. Which is kind of funny when people say Star Wars doesn't relate to women. Meanwhile, it was a woman who edited it in the first place. I just Googled Lucas World. It looks incredible. I gotta now Google Lucas World because you got to talking about it too much, and I don't know what it is. But anyway, guys, yeah. So I really hope that, and I really hope that we pass this point. I don't know what it's going to take. I really want somebody to be a new Lucas, and that's what I'm hoping for. I want a new Lucas, someone to come out there, come up with a great idea, something completely new. Maybe someone who wanted to make something and then said, "Hey, we don't want you to have this," and decide, "Well, screw you, I'll do it anyway, and I'll just change all the things and make it cool." We kind of had that with Seth MacFarlane, who tried to make Star Trek, and they didn't let him, and so he created Orville. But I think Orville's too on the nose. Like, it's too on the nose of Star Trek. It's not really his own innovative ideas. It's sort of like a rehash of old ideas, just manipulated in a way that doesn't infringe copyright. Um, but we need someone to actually take something and really go do something with it. Maybe it won't even be in the theater. Maybe it's something, you know, maybe it's something in Netflix. Maybe it'll be something on Amazon Prime. Maybe it'll be something there. But we need something. I mean, Stranger Things, again, as much as I love Stranger Things, Stranger Things is a rehash of everything that was the 80s. It's just repackaged sort of in a new way, but it's like the Orville in a way. It's just repackaged something we love, and so it's recognizable and looks familiar to us, but not really innovative in any way. They should do Dark Forces storyline and new movie for new movies. Bye. I need to go make cat food for 4 cats. You're gonna make cat food? Like, you're actually sitting there and making it? That's cool. That's a lot of work to make cat food. I just opened up a damn can, but you're making it, so good for you. I don't. I would like to see something completely new, but not dark and gritty. I'm tired of dark and gritty. Can we all agree that we've done the dark and gritty thing? We've done the Game of Thrones, the death, the destruction, that kind of stuff. Can we all just agree that we want something modern but not gritty? Because I think we've done the gritty. I would like something hopeful, something like Star Wars that we look up to and we go like, wow, that's awesome, and we could do something awesome with this. Something that inspires future people in the future. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm pulling for. Someone out there, someone to do this. You know, maybe if we see this guy online on YouTube and we think there's a guy that maybe has that potential, we should crowdfund that guy and say, go make this movie. Let's make this work. And it becomes a YouTube sensation. I don't know. I don't know who's going to. Fanatics of Film, is that going to be you, Ben? Somebody out there looking for a hero, any kind of hero, to innovate and do something creative. Because I think in the end, when you look at George Lucas and what he created, what Gene Roddenberry created, what Steven Spielberg created, what these guys created, it changed the world. It innovated people, made people aspire. Robert Zemeckis made us all want to be better people, made us all like think differently. It inspired us to do create more like art that and it's just it created culture. And now we got this dead zone of things that are just not creating any more culture. Culture is completely gone. And I'm talking about, I mean, there's some stuff, like I said, in Japan. I know you guys aren't probably anime fans. I'm a huge anime fan, and yes, a lot of it is derivative. But there is some really interesting stories and great stuff being done there. And that eventually will die off too, because there's a problem in Japan where they're not making enough babies go, and so there's not enough people to draw all the anime they want to make. So now they're going to have an issue with that soon enough. But you know, I really think that we got to look to somebody. Hell, maybe I'll write something, guys. I'll figure it out, guys. Let me just roll up these sleeves. I'll start coming up with some ideas, some ideas, and put something together. And well, let's do this together, guys. How about this? Wouldn't that be fun? How about that for my next? All right. My next 5 or 6 live streams. We're gonna brainstorm ideas. Let's do it together. How about that? Can we do it together? And then we create. So we'll find someone to direct it. But let's us create something innovative together. Let's come up with an idea together. Let's work together on this. You want to do something special, guys? I know it sounds like a crazy idea, but I really think if we all work together, we all put on our idea what we're looking for, what we want. Maybe we could do something awesome. What do you think? I'm hearing crickets. I went too far, Shaney. You went too far. You're reaching. You're overreaching. I don't know. I think we could do it, even if it's just for fun. That's gonna be that's it. That's gonna be my next live stream, guys. No more complaining. We're not doing any of this complaining anymore. I'm tired of complaining about this. I'm tired of complaining about culture and fighting and Disney World anarchy. I'm going to talk about the future of the world. I want to talk about making something new, making something creative. I'm going to come up with some ideas. And if you guys are regulars on my live stream, I want you guys to come up with some ideas. Write 5 ideas down. 5 ideas. But only if you could do Marty McFly. Wow, this idea is heavy. 1.21 gigawatts. Great Scott. Wow. Doc. There you go. He's my hero, guys, by the way. Just in case you didn't know, Michael J. Fox is my idol since I was a kid. I used to dress up like Alex P. Keaton from Family Ties in school. I used to go with a briefcase and a suit and a hairstyle. He was my idol. So guys, so from the next time I do this, guys, I'm going to come up with 5 ideas. 5, and I want you guys to come up with at least one. Come up with you don't have to come up with 5, but at least come up with one idea. And let's work together. We'll do this in a diplomatic, democratic sort of way. We'll take votes and what we think the premise should be. And we'll write. So we'll write characters. We'll start with characters. We'll write an overall concept, write some characters down, and those characters, and we'll try to develop those characters, and then we'll make the ending. We'll come up with the whole thing, and then we'll see. We'll find someone to direct it. I don't know who. Fanatics of Film. If you're done, you could direct it, because he's taking film school, so you could direct it if you want. I'll be a producer. I'll just oversee everything, but then we'll do a crowdfunding. We'll try to see if we can get, what are we going to need? Like 8 million? That's what Star Wars did. 8 million. Let's see if we can crowdfund $8 million for Ben and Fanatics of Film to direct a movie that we create. No, I'm not directing. Screw that. I'm not a director. I'm an idea guy. I'm George Lucas. I'm an idea guy. I'm not a director. Someone needs to direct, but it ain't going to be me. Maybe Death by Saber, he could direct it, or find someone else out there. There's thousands and thousands of people, on Twitter. Maybe just find one of them to direct this film. I don't mind overseeing it as like an idea guy, and everyone else can help along with it. But I don't want to direct nothing. So let's do this. But I think at the very least, I think this could be fun. And this could be something that we work on together. And maybe, just maybe, we come up with something special. What do you guys think? We could be the new job. This is the future of the world. The world is a very social place. And so maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need social. Maybe we need to be a social group to create something cool. I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of people with a lot of imagination. Pretty sure we'd come up with something new and something fun. So I'm going to end it there because I like this. It was a positive note, and we're ending on a positive note. So you guys. So next time, look forward to that. Probably next week sometime. And the next one, I guarantee you, will be. I will come up with 5. You guys come up with 1. That's all you need, but you can come up with more if you want. Ideas, topics. If I was loaded, I would hire Ron Johnson to direct my film without a question. That's only if you want 50% of the people to hate it, because that's his style. He's admitted that he wants 50% of the people. Honestly, if I could actually pick a director today, any director, I would probably stick with James Cameron. He's always been my guy. I like James Cameron. He's a hardcore guy, but I think he gets the job done, by God. He's not afraid to take chances. That's one thing I really like about him. He takes chances. Any genre. Yeah, well, I mean, like any genre, I sure just pick up a. I want something epic. So let's look at something epic. It doesn't have to be sci-fi, but or it could be anything. But think epic anyway, in scale. I mean, going forward, let's create something going forward. It doesn't have to be like Star Wars, but definitely not Star Wars. Let's think outside the box. Let's think something different. I don't think Ryan has a Johnson. Of course he doesn't. He's got a high pitch. He's high pitched. How could he? Yeah, no. I mean, if I'm not opposed or saying no to anything, because the worst thing you can do is put restrictions on creativity, and that's not what I want. No restrictions. I don't care how crazy the idea. I want it. I want it on my desk by noon. because if you put restriction on creativity, that's when you start having problems. And that's when you start putting things in boxes. You put the things in a box but after the idea is outlandish, make the craziest, most innovative thing you can come up with, and then we start pulling the reins on it, right? Star Wars was like that too, because the ideas that he came out with, from what I gather from the stuff I've seen, there was a lot of crazy ideas that he had, and someone had to sort of rein a lot of that in, so it became a cohesive thing. So that's yeah. I want it on my desk by noon, you guys. Just. But no, hey, listen, at the very least, this is the fun thing we could do together, and it could pass the time, and we could say, maybe we could forget about the stuff that's troubling us, and we could forget about the stuff that we don't have, and look to something that we could have. That's how I'm going to end this. It's a nice little statement. All right, guys, thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate this. And so start thinking, and my next week it should be on my desk. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys back. And I will and it will definitely be in my title. And my title will definitely say something about creating the future together. It'll be creating the future together. Join me. That's going to be my title for my next one. So you'll know that when that's going to be the title. So this way everybody will know, and we'll come up with brilliant ideas. The OSIR, the only ship in range. What does that mean, OSIR? When, you say, when? Okay, here's the problem, guys. I'm got to go to the doctor on Monday. I have to do a checkup on something that might need surgery. So, depending on how things go, maybe the same time, Thursday or Friday, I'll try and make it for those two. One, if it's not Thursday, you know for sure it's Friday, guys. But because my schedule is kind of chaotic now with a little bit of some health issues and stuff, don't worry, guys, I'm fine. It's more of an injury thing. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's procedure. It would be just a procedure. But it's not a huge deal. It's just something that I got to get done, because it's just, otherwise I'll never get healed. So But anyway, is a physical injury. But anyway, so that's but next week for sure. And I'm thinking towards the end of the week. Gives you a whole what, 7 days to come up with something, guys. So here's okay. I'm gonna learn some ground rules, not ground rules, some organizational standpoints. So this is what we want. Okay, number one, let's start with something simple. Let's do a genre. Let's create a genre, whatever genre you want. Let's do that. Okay. So that it could be action, action adventure, sci-fi adventure, horror adventure. I kind of want to stay away from horror only because horror, while fun and can be great if done well, like Terminator, I think it pigeonholes itself into a certain category. And I don't think it lends itself to what I want to create, which is inspire wonderment in that, in the way that Star Wars did, in the way that these Back to the Future did. Terminator was a great movie, and I consider it a horror, and it did inspire horror writers and people to do horror. But I don't think you look to Terminator and go, wow, I wish I was that. It's sort of despairing, and and we've done the despair, we've done that, and that's the only thing I'm going to say, guys, is that let's try and look to a positive future, and that's why I kind of want to stay away from horror. Maybe we could do horror after. If this is successful, we could do horror after. But I love horror. It's one of my favorite genres. Don't get me wrong. It's just I think we should be pushing towards more inspirational stuff. But hey, if you guys got something that's fantastic and you guys want to pitch it, go ahead. Keep away from Dr. Chenard. Dr. Chenard, who's that? I don't know who Dr. Chenard is. But anyway, guys, so I'm gonna leave it here. So, right, like I said, come up with a genre, and also, if you got a plot, like a basic end plot, go ahead, go for it. Whatever you guys want to come up with. But we're not going to ridicule. It's a safe space too. I'm not going to ridicule anybody's idea. I'm not going to say, well, that's stupid. You're stupid. Your idea is dumb. I'm not doing that. There's no stupid ideas. So I'm going to make this a completely creatively safe space where nobody gets ridiculed for their ideas, and it doesn't matter. All right, guys. So thank you, guys, and we'll talk to you later. And I'm going to click the stop broadcast soon. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next Thursday or Friday for sure. Live stream. I'll probably have a video up before then next week too. That Billy will probably be in it. So I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching. Oh, don't forget to subscribe. I always forget that stupid stuff. And subscribe to Fanatics Film. Subscribe to check out Continuum Trek on Twitter. Stormtrooper Babe. Check her out on I think you don't do videos anymore, do you? Toriel G, she's getting better, guys. She's getting better at her videos. Check her out. Checked out Death by Saber. Opinion. He's going to give his opinions very soon, so look out and watch for that. All right, guys. So once again, I'm going to say goodbye because I always forget to do that. All right. See you later, guys.